Good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to be exploring further topics relating to fact, fiction, and opinion. I'd like everybody to have your books always, but I know that you have a lot of stuff to carry and you might not have taken your books home with you. So I have provided everybody with copies of the pages to our message. We have a message board, a chat box with all our group chat, whatever you want to call it. It's in there. All of the pictures are in there. As I told you on that short TikTok I sent you earlier today, we're going to be exploring some more aspects of fact, fiction, opinion. Is the online world a positive place for us to be? So yesterday we had the visit from Dan Peters. He represents Fulbright, and I'm not sure what the topic was in the class that you had with him, but that class that you had is going to make up for the class that you would have had tomorrow, because everyone is going on that trip. The teachers are going on that trip. But I digress. What I was trying to say is that I'm not sure which topic he covered with you guys, but in the class that we had with Vega Ann Ho and Vega Ann Stu, there was a lot of talk about the influence of social media in the online world and how it has been a platform not only for social interactions but also for political protests and protests in general, and how expressing ourselves on social media has disadvantages and advantages. We're going to start today with an activity that's on page 171. I know we're all the way close to page 200 right now, but I'm taking you back for this listening activity. I'll also be providing you with the link for you to listen to it again if you need to. But I'll play that audio file for you. The teens who decided to log off. So right off the bat, you know what this is going to be about. Logging off. So before we listen, our pre-listening activity will be for you to type in chat right now, which is also a way for me to know who is in class and who's not, is when people type in chat. Have you ever logged off completely? Why? Was it good? Just in short, type in chat. Different people give different reasons for logging off. In one of the classes that I taught this week, not this week, but the week before Easter, all of the students were asked to write an essay about what they were going to do during Easter. So I asked them to structure their essay in 3 paragraphs minimum, which would be an introduction to what Easter usually is to them, what they usually do, what they did last year, and what they would do this year. One of the things that I noticed is I had a lot of people raising their hand and saying, "Hey, Pollyanna, how do you say internet reception?" They wanted to know the words in internet reception, cell phone signal. They're asking me these in Norwegian, of course. But that was a common ground. And when I read the essays, one of the things that most people had in common was that they did not have a lot of internet or online access or cell phone signal during the time they spent during Easter in their cottage or cabin, if you will, which is a very Norwegian tradition. So they were forced to log off because they didn't have a connection to the internet and they were out there with their families and there was no way they could connect. So different people deal with this differently. I have some students, quite young students, 15, 16, who love reading. I have students who like to do creative drawing. I have had, I don't know if I have any right now, but I've had many students who love to knit. And that's also something that keeps them busy. And they have no problem disconnecting, logging off. Was it good? Was it bad? Some people say that they're fine with it. They actually like spending more time talking to their family members instead of being on the phone. So it might be a positive thing. On the negative side, maybe they feel, oh, I wish I could snap my friend a photograph of this beautiful lake where we're swimming right now. Well, not swimming. Is anybody swimming now? The 20th of April, it's been kind of cold for swimming, but some people do the polar bear thing. Anyway, so maybe you want to send a photo to somebody, maybe you want to communicate something that's happening, and you can't log in and tell them something, or so it really makes you live in the moment and with the people who are around you physically. But you miss out on some aspects. Some of the generations that did not grow up with that have a different relationship with these aspects of technology. My mother is close to 74 years old. She loves her technology, loves it. She has her phone. She has about 5 different phones, but she uses one, of course, that she communicates with. Loves her laptop, loves her everything technology. She's always on there. She's always posting things, reading things, doing research, using streaming services on everything that you can think of. She uses all of that. But there are times when she just wants to read a book or read the newspaper in quiet, dead silence, and that's okay. And if those things are not available, she's okay with it. Because she didn't grow up with it. This is fairly new in her life, the past 20, 25 years or so. But let's hear now. I've seen your reasons, hopefully. Everyone typed, or somebody typed. Let's see why these kids, these teenagers, decided to log off. I want you to pay attention to their reasons. Please take notes or mental notes. I don't like taking mental notes. I like writing stuff down, but some people take very good mental notes and they remember everything. Then, how do you feel about what they said? And finally, FOMO, fear of missing out. What do you think about that? So we're going to talk about these 3 different things, but I'm going to play the audio file now. I'm also going to make it available on the link to the Interactions website. The Interactions website has all the audios that you need. If you have a license, which we do at our school, so you can go in there and listen to it. It's going to be a clearer audio if you do, but I'm going to play it right now.
The teens who decided to log off. Mary Emanuel, 17, London. I had a friend who had an Instagram account, and one day we were out shopping,
and she was counting the amount of likes she'd got on a post. Oh, 40 likes, 42 likes. I just thought, this is ridiculous. I could see how social media was taking over my friends' lives. So, when I was 16, I decided to quit. Social media is so ingrained in teenage culture that it's hard to take it out. But when you do, it's such a relief. I've got lots of friends who wish they were able to log off, but they don't dare. I guess they're afraid of missing out and losing their identity. But I found mine by logging off.
Emily Sharp, 15, Surrey.
Well, I never really logged on, to be honest. I saw friends being bullied online. It wasn't nice. That deterred me from using it. At school, social media is a brutal barometer of popularity. It's like if you meet someone new and they ask for your Instagram and they find out you only have 80 followers, they're going to think, she's not that popular. But if you have 2,000 followers, they're going to be like, wow, she's the most popular person in school. I logged off social media when I was 13 because I'd rather not know what other people think of me.
Jeremiah Johnson, 18, Luton.
Online lives are basically a lie. It's as simple as that. It's just a competition for who can appear the happiest and most successful. And then, if you're not happy and you're honest about it on social media, people say you're attention seeking. If you're having a bad day and scrolling through Instagram, you're constantly bombarded with pictures of people going to parties. Even if that's not an accurate portrayal of their lives, that's what you see. So I stopped using it. It became depressing, always comparing your life to everyone else's. I've got better things to spend my time on.
So there are three separate points of view in the story here. There are three people telling different experiences. One of them was really interesting because it's not the norm. Which one would it be? What really stands out is the girl. She's the one who really stands out because she doesn't use social media at all. And she logged on for a bit and then logged off immediately when she was 13. Do you know anybody like that? I myself don't. I see in the classroom whenever you have a break, everybody goes to their phones immediately, almost. So it's not very common for people to not be logged on. How about the boy? Just share your opinion quickly. The boy who says social media is a lie, that people are posting things right now at this very moment as we have this class. They're posting things that they're not really portraying the reality in which they live, but they're portraying what they wish they had, or maybe what they want other people to think. How many of you agree with that statement? That it's depressing to be online because it's a lie. The online life is a lie that people portray, because you're not going to take a picture of yourself when you are going through something terrible, post it online and talk about it. And what the boy said is actually when people actually do that they are ostracized and they're called attention seekers. So you can't really find, if you're not happy, then people call you an attention seeker for posting about that. If you're too happy, then people think you're lying about your happiness. So is there a balance? Finally, FOMO, fear of missing out. There are lots of different acronyms coming out. I don't know all of them, but some of them, they're basic aspects of being online, of being part of the new generation of woke people. I'm not saying that I'm one of them. I'm just saying that I need to understand what's going on, and I need to understand how that affects academics and how people process reality and critical thinking and all of that. Please share your opinions of fear of missing out. How do you interpret it for yourselves? You may not think it's a thing. It might not be an accurate depiction of what you go through every day. Let's talk about the Merriam-Webster definition for FOMO. Here's the deal, and I want to be completely honest with you guys when it comes to that. I know that Google is a huge tool and people are going to Google things all the time. But there are certain websites out there that call themselves dictionaries and they're not proper dictionaries. So you have to be really careful of it. There's something called the Urban Dictionary, which can be helpful sometimes when you want to know what someone's saying if they're on TikTok and they're using a type of jargon that's very slangish, very colloquial and nothing formal and academic, and you haven't heard, you might want to go in there and search for something. But the problem with that is that anybody has access to that Urban Dictionary. And there are a lot of entries which are not accurate. And the speech that you see used on TikTok, used by native speakers of a certain age who don't have a proper education or maybe who are not finished with an education yet, that is not something for you to use in academic writing. That is not for you to use when you were trying to write a proper essay, a term paper. So you have to be really careful with that. I find lots of texts that I correct on a daily basis where people will be writing something very proper, very nice, and then all of a sudden they say, and then my friend and I went home to chill. Chill is not a proper word for you to use on a term paper, academic writing in general. You have to be very careful. Choose your words. Look up words, places like Merriam-Webster. This is a fat income. This is a dictionary. What you say is not always what you can write. But if you find something on Merriam-Webster, I guarantee you can write that down. And you can trust that as a reliable source. Just like we were talking about a source for the news. There are lots of different outlets for the news, but you can go to proper sources. They're more reliable, like the BBC, CNN, and here in Norway, go to NRK. Don't go to tabloids and TMZ or whatever, or gossip magazines. So here's the definition for FOMO from Merriam-Webster. Fear of missing out. Fear of not being included in something, such as an interesting or enjoyable activity that others are experiencing. If anyone in history should have died from FOMO, it would be Emily Dickinson, an agoraphobe who virtually never left her house. That's something that somebody wrote in the Oprah magazine. But maybe she didn't really care, Emily Dickinson, right? But still, it's just a sentence using FOMO, so fear of missing out. We talked about phobias a while ago. Agoraphobia, somebody who is afraid of crowds and spaces with people. In 2018, I was in Rome for Thanksgiving, the first time I had been out of the country for a major holiday. My family never felt so far away, and all I wanted was to be home. This was dramatic, of course, brought on by end of semester stress and strong FOMO. Fear of missing out. FOMO. Do you think it's a real thing? I personally don't have that. I couldn't care less what other people are doing or experiencing. I have my own life that I want to experience. But who knows, maybe 35 years ago when I was a teenager, I might have had that. Fear of missing out. So this is a concept which is talked about on page 171. There are 3 questions there. It's number 4, page 171. You have your choice of writing them down or doing an audio file. You will notice that when you make one of those audio files, it really flows. Whatever you're thinking when you're answering the questions really flows. And I don't grade or assess anything that's spoken word in the same way that I assess something that's written down. Just so you know. I don't want to make this a long session because I know you have some of you have a long Spanish assignment for tomorrow, and one of you has a long German assignment that they're doing tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but Friday. Right. Page 198. Here's what the page looks like. Have you ever, which is not the same game that we played in class the other day, which was the game I am the dullest person in the world because I have never, and then you can say swim in cold waters, drink Coca-Cola mixed with orange drinks, or whatever crazy thing. It's completely different. These are just questions about the topic related to social media and how we interact. There are 10 questions. I don't want long answers, just a simple yes or no and a comment. If you need to say something about it, will suffice. So here you have the first one. Have you ever obsessed about taking the perfect selfie? Have you ever anxiously waited to count the number of likes you get on a post? Do you have any opinions about this? Then you can express them. You can say, for example, yes to the first one, obsessed about taking the perfect. Yeah, I have obsessed about taking the perfect selfie. because I wanted to post something nice, or I wanted to take a picture during a vacation to send to my family or my friends. Or the next one, anxiously waited to count the number of likes you get on a post. No. Or yes, because I'm trying to grow my social media and I want to be a social media influencer. But you don't have to justify all of the answers that you give. I'm just giving you examples of what you can do with these. You can choose, for example, one that really interests you, and then you can write a deeper description of how you felt about it. Scroll through your social media instead of sleeping. Have you ever unfriended someone because of their stupid views? Have you ever seen an ad for something you were just thinking about? Have you ever followed a celebrity even though you didn't really like them? Have you ever shared a picture of someone without their consent? There are lots of different ones here. You may or may not want to comment on all of them, but I just want you to answer these 10 questions. Same exact. I'm giving you the same chance to do it spoken word, audio file, or video file, or you can do it in written form. Have you ever played a game for so long you forgot about time? I've seen that happen. But this has been around way before social media and the internet even. So those of you who grew up in the 80s mostly, those of us who were old enough in the 80s, older children that we could play with video games, we were already playing games for long periods of time. So this is not new. This is not a new phenomenon. But you can comment on that from a different perspective, because if you're playing online, there's the interaction. There are more activities that you can combine with that. Have you ever commented on a post by someone you don't personally know? Have you ever posted something you've regretted? How many times did you answer yes? Compare with others in class. So this would be an interesting one. You can, and I encourage all of you to do this, take your results and compare to one another. You can send, I don't know which tool you use to communicate. I know that we all have our Facebook Messenger group, but you may communicate with each other on Snapchat, Instagram, or something else, personal number, but compare your results and you can talk about it a little bit. You can have your own video chat afterwards and discuss this. This is all that I want for today. So tomorrow you won't have a class because after 2 o'clock all the teachers are leaving for the conference for 3 days. And that is why the groups were put together. I'm not sure if it was Monday or, no, not Monday, but Tuesday. If it was early in the morning that you had a class and you had Dan Peters from Fulbright talking to class and you sat with Thomas, I believe, the teacher. I'm not sure what the discussion was. Our group did Black Lives Matter and versus the Martin Luther King protest back in the day. Thomas picked that out for me. So the kids ended up having a very interesting discussion about that. And of course, all of my students did Black History Month, so they had a lot to say about that. I'm not sure what you did in your class, but I'm pretty sure that it must have been really good because the reactions that we got in our group were really good. So tomorrow you don't have a class. Unless, of course, I'm told otherwise, then I will provide you with content for you to work on tomorrow afternoon. But I'm going to say I'm 99.9% sure that you're not going to have a class. And on Friday, Fog Dog, which is going to be completely focused on Spanish and German. So those of you who have German are going to do a whole day with German activities. Those of you who have Spanish will do Spanish. We have just about a month and a couple of weeks to go. It's going to go really fast. I'm not sure we're going to be able to finish this whole book, but next year what you're going to do will be more focused on social studies, English. It's going to be social studies taught in English with a focus on English-speaking countries and an international focus. It will be rather interesting. I feel like you're going to benefit a lot from that program. Send me the files as soon as you can. I know everyone has a lot on their plate because you have the long Spanish and German to do for Friday, but you have the whole of Friday to work on that. Some of you will not be able to work on that on Friday, so what you can do is you can start whenever you have some time. Do a little bit today, do a little bit tomorrow. As soon as you hand everything in on Friday,